Hello and welcome to NewsMobile special coffee roundtable with somebody who has been behind the scenes running the coordination of the G20 Leaders Summit being held in Delhi. Muktesh Pardeshi, who is Special Secretary. Welcome to NewsMobile.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation to the show.
Always a pleasure. Tell me, how challenging was it? You are somebody who's used to taking on challenges. Passport Seva project was the big mammoth task that the government had given you. You delivered on that, and now G20. How difficult was it?
It had been challenging, not difficult, but it also had been an opportunity for the country. And when I joined G20 Secretariat last July, I decided to fall back on the experience which I had gained in reforming passport services in the country during 2010 to 16. That had given me deep insight into the state level governance, including with the security agencies, and a lot of inter-ministerial coordination which goes in Delhi. That came very handy. So for instance, the Honorable Prime Minister laid out the vision to have G20 meetings in 60 locations. I had seen 55 locations. So that gave me enormous confidence and also understanding of the layout of the country. I had traveled extensively through Northeast and some of the islands where we had to conduct these meetings. So I would say initially, of course, it was a tough task given for the G20 Secretariat, but under the vision of the Prime Minister and the fact that he laid from the front, that gave us confidence to implement it. And today, India has created a history by conducting a diplomatic event in some 60 places.
I was talking to a lot of diplomatic observers. People were very skeptical when you organized the meeting in Kashmir, but you had a record turnout. How difficult was that?
Well, considering the circumstances and how things had panned out during last 2-3 years, there were some reservations in the mind of delegates. So we had to assure them about the security, adequate facilities, accommodation, etc. And we were able to earn their confidence. We worked very closely with Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Secretary of Jammu and Kashmir. And I must say, they provided excellent support. The whole tourism industries there, they came out in support of the G20 meeting. During those days, that gave us an excellent opportunity to transform some of the touristic infrastructure in Srinagar and the nearby. I am told the event in May has led to a big spurt in tourist arrivals in the valley. So I think the event which took place in May is a game changer in terms of perception about Jammu and Kashmir abroad, diplomatically, and within the country so far as the tourism potential is concerned.
Do you think that the diplomatic, the nature of the event that G20 Leaders Summit has become, will it lead to diplomatic dividends for India?
Certainly, I think this G20 is going to leave behind a lasting legacy. And the legacy is at different levels. First is in terms of creating capacity in the country, whether it's physical infrastructure, intellectual strength, and organizational skills. I mean, I'll be very honest. We in 75 years didn't have many big mega events held in our country, whether in sports field or diplomatic event. We had CHOGM and NAM summits or India-Africa summit, but the G20 is at a different scale, where who is who of international leadership is going to arrive. So we need to have organizational skills in the country, and this event has created that kind of organizational skills, not in Delhi, not in Mumbai, but throughout the country. So this will leave a lasting legacy. The second one is, in terms of the soft power projection, delegates are mesmerized by the way we have curated these meetings, coupled with exposure to craft, the culture, and cuisine. So it's not only our diplomatic prowess and finesse which is being recognized, it's also projection of the soft power, and all this will go a long way in promotion of brand India, or I would say brand Bharat, throughout the world.
Prime Minister Modi has been talking about it, how he wanted to integrate the diversity of India, the cultural diversity of India, into India's G20 presidency. How successful have you been through the entire gamut of G20 meetings?
No, it had been, we have been very successful in terms of projection of diverse culture. The very fact that these meetings have taken place all over India, each state, each union territory, and each region got an opportunity to showcase the best that they have to offer. So if meetings have taken place, for instance, in Kerala or Lakshadweep or Telangana, we utilized whether it's delegate kits or the gifts which were selected or the dance items or musical items, they all portrayed the region. So this was, it was not that we had a standard cultural program and happening throughout India. The focus was promote the location where the meetings are taking place, and that gave an opportunity for sharing diverse experience. So if a particular delegate, they have visited 10 places in India, they all had diverse experience, not uniform the cultural exposure.
Also, G20 Summit and the presidency that India is hosting also brought in a lot of, sent out a message to the world about India's digital prowess. Talk a bit about that.
In terms of digital transformation, we have a story to share with the world. So in substantive discussions as well, we have focused on the role of digital public infrastructure and how digital transformation is helping a country like India to leapfrog in terms of development. So this is one. Secondly, wherever meetings have taken place, in the sidelines of the relevant meetings, we have done exhibitions to showcase different aspects of the digital transformation. And at the summit, we are creating 2 items for the benefit of leaders and ministers and delegates. One is called Digital India Experience Zone.
Right.
And the second one, RBI is putting together, once again, a stall on how digital payment is made. That is done, curated by the Reserve Bank of India. The focus is on when delegates arrive at Bharat Mandapam, whenever they have spare time, they will walk through all the exhibitions and see for themselves how payment is being made digitally in India, how UPI or Aadhaar and other kinds of different digital platforms have been created and how it's helping us in development. This is one story which we'd like to share with the global south as well. So there's a lot of focus on putting the digital and modern face of India through these kind of stories.
I know it's a busy schedule that you have, and thank you for talking to us. But before I let you go, what is something special that the leaders will look out for, especially during the retreat part of the summit?
There are several things. One is there is an exhibition called Bharat, the Mother of Democracy. So this is specially curated exhibition done by Ministry of Culture. There are different panels showcasing how democracy was rooted in Indian civilization during Vedic age and how it has evolved over a period of time.
Right.
So leaders will see from Indus Valley civilization up to now the birth and then growth of democratic principles in our country. The second one is, I spoke about the digital part. Third, there is a cultural corridor, again curated by the Ministry of Culture, but their exhibits have been taken from the G20 member countries.
Right.
So each country will have one special exhibit at the cultural corridor, and the leaders, when they get an opportunity to walk through, they will see one cultural iconic item being displayed there. That's projecting the notion of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We are not only sharing our story, we would like to have the story,
their story, and they can relate
their story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking to NewsMobile. That was Ambassador Muktesh Pardeshi, Special Secretary G20, talking exclusively to NewsMobile on this special coffee discussion on G20.